Just getting a couple things tweaked here. Okay. I believe all of our audio is good. Maybe it's not working. What's going on? Let's do some maintenance here. Oh, there it is, live now. Okay. I don't know about you guys, my audio sounds like garbage. Maybe that's just my connection. Sounds echoey to me, but alright, let's see how it goes. I don't know why it would be doubling up. It just popped on your phone? What does that mean? Like audio popped? Phil? Audio is the bane of my existence. It sounds like it's getting two audio feeds, but I don't know why it would do that. All right, let's get a quick share here. Okay. Oh yeah, Phil, I didn't post it on Facebook yet. Yeah, I don't think it's reverb from the wall. I think something is like recirculating the audio. I don't know why. But I will post it this time in the cinematography salon. All right, that's shared. Okay. One of these days I'll figure out the audio. Maybe I do need to switch this back to... Hold on. There. Tell me if that sounds better or worse. Better 1 or better 2? If you're using OBS, right-click in the audio mixer and unhide all. Oh. Maybe there is something... Thank you, Zach. You were totally right. I'm gonna re-hide the ones I don't want. Okay, kudo points to Zach. Okay, I think that sounds significantly better now. Good. First mods. Let's get cracking. Okay. Okay. Milvus. Zeiss Milvus. Oh. They should put LEDs in every box so that it lights up when you open it. So this particular lens is getting a sort of an obscure mod. It's not our full normal mods. We wanted some custom stuff, so we're doing a little bit different than usual. Okay. So this is a ZF2, so it's a Nikon, fully manual Nikon mount. Snail, you want more coffee? You can have more coffee. Actually, I need to get more made. The stuff that we have is definitely no good now. It's left over from what was our last event? I can't remember. But Snail, I will definitely get you some more coffee. So yeah, Milvus are fantastic lenses for the Cine-Mod because they're fully manual. They're super robust. You've got the nice manual aperture. It's clicky, but that's easily fixed. So this particular guy is getting, let's see what this client asked for. Front ring, 80mm front ring. So normally we do a 95 because the 21 and the 15 both, they're a little bit wide for an 80mm front, but it really depends on what sensor you're shooting on. So this guy in particular wants a 80mm front, focus gear, and aperture declick, which is usually it's just a matter of turning the little key, but I think he wants the full proper declick with lubrication, so we'll do that. Let's get cracking on that. Get all my stuff out of the way here. And moved my camera around a little bit, so if my hat... Actually, that's okay. I have to lean super far in to get the hat in there. This is the wrong tip. Ah, much better. Okay, so normally, I should have shown you this first, but normally the declicking is just this little screw right here that goes through the mount, and you just turn it and it turns off the clicks. But when you do that, it doesn't feel great. And actually, here, I'll show you that. Super tiny little click. So it's pretty satisfying, but now there's no intermittent clicking. But it's kind of raspy, kind of dry. I think Zeiss uses just enough lubrication to not get it hung up on itself. So we're going to give it a little extra. Phil, I'm still waiting to hear what your mods that you want are. You've got me quite curious now. Next week, chat. Alright, next week it is. Time for some Munchbox. I don't know if they're open. They don't really have a dining room. It's all outside, so I have to imagine they're different than most restaurants in that regard. I know In-N-Out is open, but last time I drove by there, the line was like probably 30 cars long. It's insane. I don't understand why anyone would wait in line for probably an hour for a hamburger. Don't get me wrong, I am an In-N-Out fan. I do love In-N-Out burgers, but not that much. The Milvus are... Phil, you're right. They're lightweight compared to like CP3s or Supremes. but they're still heavy. They're still very heavy compared to other traditional photography lenses, especially if you're looking at the Zeiss Batis. You can't get much lighter than that. Those are ideal if you're looking to shave as much weight as possible. I should put some rubber in the bottom of those so it's not so loud. Sorry. Okay. Oh. Pandemic In-N-Out tastes better. It's because we're all desperate to get in and out. I'll wait. I don't need to sit in a line for that long. Ooh, should we bring Snehal? It's I slipped up anyway. Munchbox is like Phil and I's secret spot, but I think Snehal qualifies. I think Snehal has earned Munchbox privilege. If anyone has earned it, Snehal has. I'm also super happy that Zeiss adopted the fluted shape from the Otus line. Yeah, it does look nice, but it doesn't serve any purpose whatsoever. Whoa. And that's how you ruin shirts. You drop a ring that has grease on it and then it's stained forever. I probably have half a dozen shirts at home that have a ring right on the stomach area from that reflex of grabbing it before it hits the ground. It's not about the drive-through wait for In-N-Out. It's about the rapid fading of the food on the way home. That is inevitable. Yeah, you leave In-N-Out, and by the time you get home, you have 10% of the fries that you left with. Very true, George. It's inevitable. I consider myself very lucky because Aubrey knows that she's responsible for passing the fries on the way home. It's a very important job. Okay, so much better. That's beautiful. Zeiss was so close with making these perfect. I don't know why they didn't put more lubrication in there. Actually, I do know why. When the click mechanism is engaged, they don't feel anywhere near as satisfying with this amount of lubrication. So, without the lubrication, that click is super crisp and clean. Yeah, you can't. In and out fries are pretty fantastic, but they're definitely not my favorite. They're good in their own right. Like, you have those moments where, like, yeah, I need squishy in and out fries, or animal style. But not always. Do people turn on the click after the Cine-Mod is done? You certainly can. That's the benefit of how Zeiss did their clicky feature. When we do the declick on Milvus, we don't remove the actual mechanism like we would on a classic lens, a classic like ZF2. So, in fact, once this is together, I'll give that a spin. But I think most people that are getting these with our mods are pretty made up in their decision, and they're not gonna pay to have it declicked and then just undo that. But then again, this is a unique job. This client specifically asked for the declicking procedure. Normally, when we sell these lenses with our mod, we don't do what I just did, but we offer it because of what I said. So that's a nice, beautiful rotation. But we can come in with this guy. It's kind of hard to see. It's super tiny, and they come with a key. Let's see if that focuses. So it still clicks. It's just more damped. It's more lumpy instead of bumpy, I guess. It's the best way I can describe it. So the clicks don't feel as good when we lubricate it, but I think 99% of people that we're selling them to don't want the clicks. Yeah, much better. And it's also odd because he's not getting an EF conversion, which is not common. Most people get these with the EF conversion. Light, well-cooked fries is the secret. How do you cook your fries, George? Air fryer, deep fryer? Oh, and happy anniversary, I think, right, George? Did I see that correctly? Let's start working on that. Oh, that's what you're saying, is light well. So you have to ask them, you have to ask In-N-Out for light well, not like extra crispy or something. There, that's what I appreciate about the curve. Look at that. Seamless. Beautiful. Like, this is really nice, and when you put this factory lens hood on, it's cool, but without it, it looks terrible. And then when you add our front ring, lovely. Yeah, Phil, that's what we're pretty proud of. Anybody can buy a cheap step-up ring on eBay or something, but with ours, with that continuing contour, it looks more intentional, which we're pretty happy with. I might need to recut this gear. Oof. Alright, I'll let that cool down and see what happens. On my keyboard, this lens is way wider. My keyboard's always in the shot. CVP. Agreed, they look really fantastic. Or they look fantastic, fully modded. CVP, fun fact, is the only place in, actually, not just in Europe, but they're the only place in the world. Well, sorry, not part of Europe anymore, I guess, but CVP is the only place that we offer our Cine-Mod components to. So if you're in the UK, you can get the actual Duclos mods from CVP. And we don't do that with any other retailers or dealers or anything. Okay. I don't know if I just killed my stream. No, I didn't. I think it's still going. Okay. This is still super hot. Alright, let's let that cool all the way down. Why are there two 35mm lenses in the Milvus line? Different optical design, I'm assuming, since you get the extra stop. Yeah, completely different optical design. The 35 f2 is older. I think that was inherited from the classic line. And the Milvus 35 1.4 is a much, much newer design. It performs really well. Massively outperforms the 35 1.4 from the classic line. Yeah, this is gonna have to cool down for a while, so I'll just set that aside. Whoops. Snagged my gripper. It's getting there. That's much tighter now. But still not as tight as I'd like it to be. So, do some paperwork off camera. Sorry. Let's see, the front ring cap. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful now. Okay. That is donezo. More Zeiss. Otus. These have already been slightly modified. I installed the gear earlier this morning on a couple of them because these are a little more complex. So this particular client, where's their work order? So this particular client is getting Cine-Mod Otus, which is a slightly more complex mod. So it'll get the same declicking I just did. These are an actual declick. There is no access part like the Milvus. And then the focus scale, focus gear. Normally this is like a rubber grip, just like you saw in the Milvus, and we can do a normal gear that we do, but this is our enhanced focus scale. So it's an aluminum ring that covers the rubber, has the gear part of the focus scale, and then we engrave the focus marks and put a witness at the operator position. So instead of trying to look at one or maybe two marks in this little window here, you get the full scale on the outside, so you can see your marks coming. You can see your you can put chart tape on it. And this one you can't really put chart tape because it gets stuck inside this little pass through. So having an external scale makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot more AC friendly. So this will get the front ring and the declicking. It already has the gear on it, and then it'll go into the laser room, which I'm not taking you guys into today. Maybe I'll set up another camera there some other time. The F2 is not a Biogon design, George. The F2 is a... Snehal can tell you. Distagon, I believe. I don't think Zeiss makes a Biogon anymore. It's kind of a outdated design. Any more lights? That's a bit dark. Yeah, the ZM. Okay, so the newer, because I think Zeiss still makes the ZM lenses. That's a Biogon. That doesn't surprise me. It's for Leica. With that stuff, you want that sort of vintage design. You don't shoot Leica M for perfect image quality or super sharp results. So sharp, yes, but not clinical. I think the ZM lenses are sort of the opposite of the Otus. Oop, just lost my lock. Snehal, putting you on the spot. What is your desert island lens? You've got one lens, and you're deserted on an island with infinite photographic opportunities. What do you pick? What do you take with you? Doesn't matter what the camera platform is. One lens. Depends on the camera. See, that's what I was trying to get around. Make your own from the sand on the beach. Good luck with that. Let's say your one and only camera body is a Sony Alpha something. Anything with an E mount. It's a Sony E mount still camera. I don't want the focal length. I want your make and model. Do you pick Batis? Do you pick Loxia, Otus, or do you throw everyone a curveball and you pick a Leica lens? Night Hall's not above playing with the competition. I have a fantastic photo of you and Seth still. My go-to Sony Alpha. They're 40 Batis with autofocus. I say there you go. Those are fantastic choices. I might need to get a Batis. So this top-down camera is at the moment a Sony A7. A7R, and it's using an 18. Yeah, it's 18mm f2.8 from Rokinon, and it works okay. But the autofocus is kind of noisy and it hunts a lot. You know, let's see if it does. It's okay, but I feel like a Batis would be more accurate. Yeah, how come Zeiss isn't doing any RF designs? You could easily port the Loxia. I'm sure they're talking about it. I'm sure it's a target of Zeiss, you know, that everybody knows that EF mount's going to go away. But yeah, the Batis I don't think they could do, because that's all the internals there are for Sony specifically. But the Loxia, since they're fully manual, that would not be hard to convert those to an RF mount or port them over. You know, they're already a mirrorless design. Kodak Retina 2? Oof. Why would you do that to yourselves? I don't know, Phil. Wasn't it Canon themselves that said that they're not producing, or they're not, they're still produced, but they're not designing any new EF mount lenses? Or am I thinking of someone else? The Retina's amazing? Really? My go-to film camera the past 2 years, I think now, is my, and I'm not pandering to Snehal here, but my Zeiss Icon is a fantastic 35mm film camera. Rangefinder, of course, and if I'm looking for something a little quicker, a little more documentarian and less discreet, then I go for a Nikon. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting what the model is now. Shoot. I haven't used it in a while. I've been stuck on the Icon for a while. They have about a 5-year backlog of glass that's unreleased in EF mount, including a 10mm f2.8 full frame. Wow. 10mm fisheye or corrected? Lucy? Why would you name a lens Lucy? Lucy the lens. I do appreciate alliteration. Rectilinear planar. That'll be interesting. It's pretty wide for a full frame. Phil, I need some more context there. Oh, I need to take a minute and do some OBS tweaking here. Very nice. All right. Will any of the Zeiss lines be offered an L mount in the future? Zeiss isn't part of the L mount alliance. I think Zeiss is, you know, the L mount alliance. The way I see it, there's the Canon camp, the Nikon camp, which is obviously the two heritage battles, and then you've got the Sony camp, which is what Nikon and Canon should be focusing on, because Sony is going to destroy Nikon and Canon if they're not careful. And then you have the Micro Four Thirds Club. It's more of a fanboy. And then the L Mount Alliance is supposed to be, the way I see it, the sort of the truce or the treaty to compete against the giant Sony camp. So I think that Zeiss is very comfortably in Canon's camp, Nikon's camp, and Sony's camp. I don't know that they'll break that trust, so to speak, and join the L Mount Alliance. But I could be completely wrong. That said, I would love it if Zeiss made L Mount lenses. I'm right there with you, George. Why do you ask, George? Do you have a Panasonic? I forget what cameras you use. I know you have your like your Varicam. I didn't think you had L mount stuff. When I left Fuji out of all of that, Fuji's in their own little camp. It's off on the side. And I'm their cheerleader saying, yeah, do it. Make faster glass. Just bought an S1 from Ilya. Okay, cool. Yeah, the S1 is pretty powerful. I've heard nothing but good things. And these are not getting an EF conversion. Oh, no EF conversions on the Zeiss stuff today. Alright. Look at that. The least subtle lens cap in the history of lens caps. What lens? Oh, it's a Zeiss. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can't do some tweaks here. Okay. Oh, you know what? I also need to post this in... What other groups am I forgetting? Where should I be sharing this stream? Do you still offer the bayonet fronts? Are you talking about the Otus bayonet fronts? Technically we do, but we're kind of shying away from them because they're really difficult to manufacture. They're very expensive. Yeah, Phil, we're like, we haven't discontinued them, but I don't think we're gonna be making more. Okay. I was trying to get... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did I just kill my feed? Again? No, there it goes. That's like the third time I thought I killed it. Bear with me, guys. Alright, I'll have to tweak this later. Never say uh-oh when working on lenses. I'm not. I'm at a keyboard. I'm safe. I don't know if this is gonna work. Oh, window capture. Here we go. What is this gonna do? This is not working. I think I just killed OBS. Oh, there we go. Okay. Window capture. Yeah, it's not letting me grab it now. It's weird. I'll have to try this another time because it was working for a second and now it's not, but oh well. So this guy's done except for some engraving. Put his cap back. Hello, I'd like to know your opinion about Otus versus Milvus. For video, there's a huge optical difference. Does it really worth it, the Otus price? Depends on what your goal is. If you're looking for the cleanest, most accurate image quality, then yeah, it's totally worth it. The Milvus aren't far behind. They're no slouch, that's for sure. But if you want the best of the best, then the Otus are pretty much the way to go. That said, I think it would still be kind of hard to pick out the differences if you're just looking at images or a monitor. I think it'd be kind of hard to find the differences between the Milvus and the Otus in the real world, so to speak. I've always wanted to try both Zeiss lines. I've never liked the ZE lenses, but love my two ZM Biogons. Otus and Milvus. Yeah, George, anytime you want to try them, I don't know if you have a camera that can accept them. I'm sure you have adapters, but anytime you want to try those, you know where to find me. We have demo stock of pretty much all of them. Maybe not the new 100, but yeah. After the quarantine, hit me up, and we'll get you hooked up with the demo units. What's the worst grease issue you've seen on a lens? I'm not sure what you mean. Like conditionally? There's a lot of things that can go wrong. The grease can get old and dry up and just become a sticky mess. Powdery even. It can break down and become very liquidy and seep into the other components of the lens. Or I've seen lenses come in that were greased with materials that were obviously not meant for lenses. They're meant for, like, you know, cogs and much larger components. I think a lot of people assume that grease is grease. It doesn't matter what you use. Yeah, if you're using the wrong grease, there's a whole bunch of things that can happen. Sometimes it works fine, sometimes you get away with it for a while, but especially on older lenses that rely on that grease to keep it moving correctly, you can actually cause quite a bit of harm by using the wrong grease. Newer lenses, it's not that important unless you're looking for a specific feel, but for vintage lenses, where they were designed and manufactured with lower tolerances, bad grease can be pretty devastating. Where? Oh. Brand new 100. Done. This is the newest Otus, the 100mm f1.4. If you're looking for that portrait lens and you need that fast aperture, this is fantastically high quality. It's got some steep competition from Sigma and Tokina for cinema lenses, and Sigma in the case of their art lenses. But yeah, that's fantastic. Perhaps a better question, what's the worst condition a lens came in that you were able to salvage / repair? Oh, definitely water damage, Phil. We've had some lenses come in that were completely submerged that we were able to save and restore to perfect working order. Usually older lenses that are more robust, so like Super Speeds or Quick S4s, but yeah, we had a couple that were completely submerged, completely waterlogged, and take them all apart, let the parts dry out, clean everything off, remove any corrosion, and I'm sure they're still working. I'm sure they're still doing their job just fine. In fact, there's probably a couple people listening right now or watching right now that are responsible for those lenses being submerged. So I'm not going to name names. Oh my gosh, I'm getting notifications like crazy. Okay, so this guy's done. One more Otus. All right. I don't know what happens if I refresh this page. I don't want to mess with it. It's gonna be terrible. Super clicky. Phil, speaking of lenses in questionable condition, there's some bins of parts, I think, that you have here right now. Well, lenses and parts that I think I was supposed to be gathering for you. Sorry about that. Matthew, are you aware of a project in the Americas that want to rehouse Otus? We started looking into that like 3 years ago or something like that. And we found that it just wasn't really worth it. If you wanted to, to get them properly rehoused at the cost that it was going to be, you were better off just getting like, Supremes. Or I think at the time CP3s were an okay option. So we kind of put that one in the can. How do I get back here? So no, nobody's rehousing them. I don't think anybody will. Honestly, if you're looking for super high quality with a PL mount, there's a lot of other options out there. Yeah, Snehall pretty much nailed it. At the point you get the Otus to the features and specs that you would want, you might as well just buy a proper Zeiss Cine lens. And if you're looking to have it done cheap, then what's the point? You don't want to spend $5,000 per lens only to have it rehoused for $2,000 per lens. That doesn't make sense. what exactly, Carlos, what would you want to achieve with a rehousing? Basically, what would the rehousing do that the Otus can't do currently? That's my standard question to people. Not just in regards to Otus, but in all rehousing. What is it that you hope the housing will achieve that you can't achieve with a Cine-Mod or the lens as is? Yeah, I think, like what Phil was just saying there, I think GL Optics was going to do a rehousing on them, but I can't honestly endorse that. I haven't seen the quality of their Cine-Mod, their Otus rehousing. I don't even know if they're doing it anymore. Operational side. I suffer the operational side of the still lenses. I'm not sure what you mean, like the focus throw or the focus breathing, or I'm not sure what you're referring to. The Otus are definitely not perfect. Optically, they're as close as you can get to perfect. Mechanically, they are lacking as far as cinema goes. For photography, if anything, they're overkill as far as mechanics go. But in our world of motion picture, yeah, I can see how that would be a struggle for some people. Hello, how and where did you learn rehousing lenses? I learned lens repair and maintenance from my father, who's been doing it for 40 some odd years. And then after I learned the basics, I received training from most manufacturers. Zeiss, Angenu, Cook, Fuji, Sigma, Tokina. Focus pulling and focus throw on the 28. The 28 is very short because it's so wide. But you kind of, depending on how you look at it, the short throw on the 28 can be helpful. Because it's a wide angle lens, your depth of field is much deeper. So the amount of focus rotation required to achieve usable focus is much, much longer. So when you use a shorter focus throw, it actually can be more useful. And when I say throw, I mean the actual, the way they time that helix, the way that the rotation affects your focus. See you later, George. Good luck in the garage. Tell Yvonne I said hello. So this one will also end up in the laser room for the new focus markings. on to some vintage stuff. I want Zeiss to release one more focal length in the Otus line. What focal length, Phil? Let me guess. Oh, I mean, I could tell you right now, if I needed an additional Otus focal length, it'd be a 35. Next up, vintage Leica R, 19mm version 1, in excellent condition. Very, very little brassing on the mount. I can't quite catch the angle. Almost none. Very, very minor brassing. Carlos, you want a 40? 40 is too close to the 55, and Phil, 21 is too close to the 28. Why would they do that? So this is getting a full mod, I believe. Focus gear, front ring, D-click, EF mount. EF mount at the 90-degree mark. Okay. That we can do. Let's get some more. Almost out of copy. I guess 35 is a little close to the 28, depending on what camera you're shooting on. Oh, before I do that, yeah, Snehal's right. The Milvus 3514 would match the Otus pretty well. It's not going to be quite as blisteringly sharp, but it's up there. It's definitely up there. Otus is another thing. I guess that's a compliment, Snehal. Otus is in a class of its own. I don't disagree with that. It's definitely set the bar in terms of optical quality, which is why they've earned the nickname Mini Master Primes. Let's get this. Okay, focus gear front ring are done. Now we'll do the declicking and mount conversion. Whoa, that was loose. Is that the one that I just loosened, or are they all loose? Whoa. Very loose. It is a version 1, but you definitely don't need to see the serial number to know that. Did you just hack the lens? What do you mean? Yeah, the version 1 and version 2 look completely different, and they perform completely different. Yeah, the version 1 has the much larger 82mm filter thread front. The version 2 is basically just a little straight tube. They look nothing alike. And the version 2, even though it's smaller and lighter, performs way better than the version 1. Oh, we got our... Phil, I'm agreeing with you more and more now. The 40 Otus. Plus, that would be, in that focal length range, the Sigma 40 has sort of set the bar. So it would be nice to see Zeiss sort of take that crown back. Not take it back, because they haven't produced a 40, but to basically say, look what we could do. You paused the video. Is the resolution that good? I didn't think that the streaming resolution would be sufficient to see details. There's some old grease for you. It's either old or it's the wrong. I can't get it to focus. Come on. It's either super old or it's the completely wrong type of grease. Either way, we'll fix that. Snehal, if you're taking feedback to Germany, definitely if you're gonna go the 40 mil route, use that Sigma as the benchmark. I have no doubt that Zeiss is capable of producing an extremely high quality 40 millimeter, but if it's not better than that Sigma, I don't see the point. Otus is supposed to be the best. That's kind of what I've come to expect from Otus. If you grab a bunch of 28 millimeters, the Zeiss Otus 28 should be the best of those. If you grab a bunch of 50s or 55, the Otus should be the best of those 50s. So on and so forth. So if they're gonna go down the 40 route, your benchmark is that Sigma. It's pretty fantastic. Oops. Is it possible to rehouse the Leica R to PL mount? It is possible. It's definitely not economical unless you're having it done in China. If you really, really love that glass, there's a company in the UK called Cine-Mod that partnered with TLS, and they do a Leica R rehousing. Carlos, check. Zero Optic. Yeah, so TLS, Zero Optic, I believe, is doing them. I don't know what their status is on those. I think I've been seeing a lot of their stuff come out lately. Mostly the Nikon stuff. I don't know if they're going ahead with the Leica R stuff, but if they are, then yeah, that'll be probably one of the best. TLS right now is definitely the best. If you're on a budget and you have to go through the GL route, by the time GL Optics got to Leica R's, they had improved a lot of their techniques and their machining procedures, so they're better than their early stuff, but they still don't really compete with TLS or Zero Optic. TLS and Zero Optic housings are practically the same concept, so you'll get very, very similar results from TLS and Zero Optic. Any thoughts on the Angenieux 28-70 f2.6 versus the Tokina 28-70? Are they identical enough to be interchanged? I noticed the Angenieux version is almost 3 to 4 times the price. As far as I know, the optical design is the same. The Angenieux being priced higher is because it says Angenieux on it and not Tokina. I'm sure there's some mechanical differences, so I don't know what parts. If you're talking about interchanging like between scenes, yeah, it should be doable. If I'm not mistaken, that whole thing, Angenieux never actually made that lens. They just outsourced it and then licensed it, essentially. Any more thoughts on the Cine-Mod iris replacement? What iris replacement? Are you talking about different iris blades or an iris ring? Different blades. What do you want? A different shape? More circular? That's doable. You should have asked me that when I had it open. I could show you the iris section. Is it worth Cine-Modding Summicrons, or should I have the service? Save that service until I get Summilux. No, Summicrons are fantastic. A lot of people say that Summicrons are faster than Summilux. Sharper. They're not really. You're just stopping out. If you do apples to apples comparison, if you stop a Summilux down to f2, they're going to look very similar. But then you introduce that shape of the iris. So, who was asking that? Kevin. The Summicrons are fantastic. If you don't need the f1.4, save yourself $1,000 on buying vintage Summilux. Go with the Summicron and get those modded. We service and modify Summicrons all the time. Summicrons, Elmerits, Elmars. I can't remember the slower one. What is the slower? What is a F4 Leica? I feel like it's something gone. Vintage 60s Nikon. So you just want a different shape, Phil. That's doable. It would be expensive, though. That's the issue. Making iris blades, manufacturing iris blades is, it's expensive unless you're doing large quantities. So yeah, if there were enough people that were willing to pay to have their Otus taken apart, you know, pull the iris blades out, put in the new blades, then yeah, it would make sense. But if you're talking about like you and 3 other guys, then it's probably not going to happen. You gotta get this aligned correctly. That's not correct. There we go. I personally think it's the next step for most Cine-Mods. Yeah, I guess. But at that point, at the point you have to take the whole lens apart, you might as well stretch for a full rehousing. This might be the most relaxing thing I've watched in 4 months. It is, it's therapeutic. Is the Leica R 19mm version 1 usable through Focus-Wise for film/video? I read different of it. What is Focus-Wise? These are annoyingly small screws, and these should never, I don't know why Leica chose to make these slotted, but they're terrible. I've seen a lot smaller. You have tiny set screws, but the fact that these are slotted, I mean, it's not even able to focus on that. I don't have a... Can't even... This really should have been a Phillips head screw, not a slotted screw. I would love to know the logic behind picking a slotted screw back when they designed this. Take care, Carlos. Yeah, I did make the overhead wider, Matt. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, and I switched the whole camera too. It was an FP with a 45 millimeter, I think. What was it? Yeah, it was a 45 mil. And now it's on a A7 with an 18 mil. But I believe I have the camera set to APS-C crop mode so that it's not seeing everything on my desk. Otherwise, it would just be too much going on. Zeiss Milvus or Zeiss ZE, which do you prefer? I assume when you're asking that, you're referring to the classic ZE, because the Milvus are still available in a ZE variant. ZE just refers to Zeiss's EF mount. And the coffee's gone, but that's okay. Japanese coffee candy. Sorry, these are loud to unwrap, and you'll probably hear me clicking it around in my mouth. But I need my coffee. The screws and element and optics in Leica are really the best. The price of the Leicas is justified in that way. No, the optics in the Leica Rs are not the best. They're actually not very good. But that's the whole purpose of them. They have just enough flaws to give them character and make them really unique, especially for video work, motion picture work. If you want the best, you go to the lens we were modifying a minute ago, the Zeiss Otus. That's about as clean and sharp as you could get. You're also, to some degree, paying for a red dot. There's a lot of brand recognition for Leica, and you're paying for that name when you use a Leica lens, or when you buy a Leica lens. Leica really refined the Rs over the years, the housing and the optics themselves. There's a fairly noticeable difference at certain generational landmarks. I would agree with that. This is a perfect example. This version 1 19mm is not very good compared to the version 2. And that's pretty well known. There's other lenses that are different, but it's rather opinionated. what would be a good lens to start learning to disassemble, to assemble and disassemble? Anything. Find something cheap that you don't care about breaking. Because if you're just starting, you probably will break stuff, or you'll get to a point where you can't get it back together. So find find the cheapest lens you can. Find broken lenses on eBay. I would say start with something fully manual. Don't bother trying to learn how to take a lens apart on Canon or Nikon or modern autofocus stuff. Try to find something vintage and fully manual, because a lot of the newer stuff like Canon, Nikon, Sony, pretty much anything in the last 10 years, it's going to be a lot of plastic. It's going to be a lot of parts that were molded, cast together, and they're not meant to be taken apart. They're meant to be thrown away when they stop working. So find some vintage, fully manual lenses. Leica's probably kind of expensive, but you could find stuff from like, the off-name Sears junk. That's a common misconception with newer stuff. Everyone thinks the newest is best, but if you look at most, I don't know if this is going to have it on here. Yeah. Most new, relatively new lenses have all of this gibberish on them. Most electronics, actually. And that right there, that number 10, is it a 10? Yeah, the little 10 with the arrows going in a circle, that means that this product has a lifespan of 10 years, and then it's supposed to, in theory, get recycled. This one's junk, obviously. This is my pencil holder. So you won't see that on vintage stuff, because it was meant to last much, much longer. Have you ever modded the Ingenue 45 to 90 T2.8 in Mar? Well, it's not a T2.8, it's an f2.8. Yes, we have definitely modified that lens. Seems like it was made to blend in with the Leica Rs. Haven't seen too many out there for motion picture work. That's a fantastic lens, and it does accept the Cine-Mod very well. Oh, sorry about that. I just got a ton of notifications. This is stuck. Go live. There we go. I think that's live. Not sure, honestly. Within the same generation between the crons and luxes, is it mostly the speed difference, or are there other major differences in the looks? No, it's almost entirely the speed. That's what those names mean specifically. Summa lux is the f1.4, Summa cron is f2. So this, I need to check this to make sure I put this in the right rotation. Let me grab a camera real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Good old trusty 5D for testing. So this particular client wanted it rotated so that the witness marks are in the operator position. And they are. Look at that. Perfect. So normally the marks are up here on the top, which for most operators is not ideal. So in the operator position, you can see them much easier. Still not the most usable scale, but works well enough. This is a old school 5D Mark II. Bam. The camera that changed, come on, focus. There we go. The camera that changed it all. That and the red. And I need an EF mount for this. Okay, I'm gonna grab a mount real quick. Stand by again. I should have a separate screen that doesn't say I'm getting coffee. Everyone's going to think that I'm getting coffee 20 times over. I've heard the Cook S4 minis and S4 are virtually identical other than the speed. Is this true, or is there a big difference in optical quality? They're very different. The mini S4s, in my opinion, don't come anywhere close to the regular S4s. Alright, this guy's done. So, focus gear, front ring, D-click, EF mod. Next we have, what is this? That's the wrong one. Okay. Another 70 to 180. This one came in with the EF mount already installed. Let's see. My personal recommendation with the Leica Rs, if you can, try to purchase lenses that were made approximately all the same year. That's not bad advice, Phil, but what a lot of people forget is that some of these Leica Rs can be 20, 30, 40 years old. And if you're buying, let's say you're trying to match, let's say you start with a 50mm Summicron that was made in 1980. And then you need to find a 35mm and a 80mm to go with that. Just because the other lenses that you're going to find are also manufactured in 1980 doesn't mean the condition of them is the same. So for me, it's more important to look at the condition and how well the lens was cared for than it is to match the actual year or even the serial numbers for that matter. So this, what is this getting? Just a focus gear now. Those need to go. Let's see if I can figure this out. Okay. D-click focus gear and 80mm front ring. And another Litex rotation. Okay. That's that focus gear. This is for a different lens. Same client, different lens. So this needs a 77mm front ring. I will go grab that. All right. Sorry about that again. Alright, let me go grab that ring that I need. Okay. This is going to be tricky for the camera to focus. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, I've been doing these streams for a couple weeks now, and the very first one I did was it was my Spotify Keith Jarrett playlist, and sure enough, halfway through the stream I started realizing that I was getting pings from YouTube over and over and over for copyright, so that got blocked. Will that be watchable on the regular YouTube channel? Yes, all of these, with the exception of that first one that I just mentioned, because of all the copyright flags, will just end up on our YouTube channel. It takes a while for YouTube to process it, but give it a day or two. But yeah, now it's just my jazz piano playlist, properly licensed, so we should be good. Oh, it's obnoxious. Yeah, because of the height, this might have trouble focusing now. Actually, looks like it's doing okay. We'll see if it hunts too much. If it does, I'll just switch it to manual. Ooh, that screw's a little chewed up. See somebody. Oh no, this one's newer. So I was just complaining about those flatheads. Apparently I'm not the only one, because this is probably from the late 80s, early 90s, and those screws that I was complaining about on the baffle are Phillips head. So that's going to make things a lot easier, thankfully. is that vibrating so much? Okay. So this might be a little repetitive because we did one of these last weekend, but it's a surprisingly popular lens despite its rarity. You see these come in all the time. I'm actually still blown away by how many of them are out there. I thought by now we would have modified all of them and the supply would have dried up. This lens has some odd markings on it. It's obviously been serviced before. Someone scribed a little R right there. You got a dash less than R. It's odd. Where's my focus? There it goes. I thought it got too quiet. I should always know that last song on there is like the quietest one in the playlist. That should be my warning. Okay. There's some more nasty grease all dried up. It's pretty terrible. It almost looks like rust, but this is nickel plated, so it shouldn't. No, it's just gunk. Just bad grease. And it's super watery, which means it's not the right grease. Someone cheaped out. Very nice. Oh. Alright, back to these mount screws. This is not a new Litex mount. This client sent the lens in with the Litex on it already. This is kind of beat up. Okay. And that's supposed to be at 90 degrees, so let's double check, because I can never remember where that dot ends up on the camera. Perfect. It looks like someone already had it rotated with the foot, but that's not the same. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Focus gear and front ring. Oh no, it's not big enough. I have to cut it up more, trim it. No, that's gonna have to get trimmed more. What were the issues that you saw with the Leica M0.8 and the Monstro? It wasn't on Monstro, it was the original Epic VV. And the issue is that the angle of incidence, so you have your sensor and they're mirrorless lenses, they're rangefinder lenses. And the angle that the light was hitting the sensor was too steep. So everywhere outside of like the Super 35 area, it was just purple and hideous because the light literally couldn't bend far enough to reach that that photo site. I don't know if that's the case with Monstro. Alright, so that's going to go back on the lathe. Finish that up later. Okay. running out of space. What is this getting? Focus gear and declick. Focus gear. Oh, I don't think I trimmed that one either. This might be the end of today. Yeah, that's gonna go back on the lathe also. All right, I'll call it there anyways. It's been 3 hours. Thank you guys for stopping in. Maybe I'll do more during the week. Oh, Monday's a holiday. Everyone's got Monday off, right? Yeah, I'll probably do more on Monday. Maybe I'll stream, maybe not. When I say more, I mean stream. Obviously, I'm doing mods, but streaming them is a whole different story. So, cool. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.